This page is the front cover of issue 19 of the Dreamcast magazine, dated May 2001 and costing £4.99. Right in your face is the headline game, Spider-Man, boasting an exclusive UK playtest, and they're laying it on thick with, "You know it makes spider sense." Also slapped across the cover is Daytona USA 2001, which is reviewed in this issue, urging you to start your engines. It's shouting about including an exclusive demo disc too, a proper bonus back then. Down at the bottom it mentions Reader Awards 2001, where your favorite games are revealed and that they've got player guides for Phantasy Star Online, and Grandia too. Blimey, they even claim over 180 Dreamcast games are rated in this issue. That's a lot of games. The cover image is dominated by a rather dynamic comic book style Spider-Man, web slinging into action. Classic stuff. If you were missing your cover disc, you were told to bother your newsagent. Those were the days. This month's cover disc boasts 2 exclusive playable demos, Skies of Arcadia, a pirate RPG featuring sword fights and treasure, and 18-wheeler American Pro Trucker, where you haul cargo across America. The disc also includes several movie trailers. These feature Shenmue 2 showcasing Hong Kong, Crazy Taxi 2 with its San Francisco to New York setting, Daytona USA 2001's high-speed racing, the first-person shooter Outrigger, and Confidential Mission, a James Bond-esque title. Additionally, the magazine reveals the Reader Awards results, with a cash prize awarded. Various previews and reviews are featured throughout the magazine, including Spider-Man, Crazy Taxi 2, and more. Readers' comments are included, and information on replacing faulty discs is provided. Issue 19 of the magazine, dated May 2001, previews upcoming games like Spider-Man, Confidential Mission, The Next Tetris, 18-wheeler American Pro Trucker, Commandos 2, Heroes of Might and Magic 2, and Unreal Tournament. Reviews cover titles such as Daytona USA 2001, Pro Pinball Trilogy, Skies of Arcadia, NBA Hoops, Rainbow Six, Rogue Spear, and Grandia 2. Features include Vox Pops on Confidential Mission, a spotlight on musician Marshall Jefferson, the ODM Reader Awards results, discussions on Phantasy Star Online and Sonic Shuffle, a look at Quake 2 Arena's tech, an interview with Spider-Man developers, and a debate about the magazine. Additional sections offer a Dreamcast owner's guide, including a game directory, facts, and recommendations. Hints and tips provide charts, gadget features, and reader content, including cheats and challenges. The issue also includes various screenshots and a photo of Marshall Jefferson. This page introduces the team behind the official Dreamcast magazine, starting with art editor Jessica Bennett, followed by Ed Lomas, concerned about power outages interrupting his gaming. News editor Patrick Garrett, a Mario fan, is highlighted for his love of Soul Calibur. Dylan Davies, who previews Heroes of Might and Magic 2i, is also mentioned. Talesi, following the introductions, is a Need Some Help or Advice section providing phone numbers for SEGA and the magazine's support services. Finally, there's an advert for 18-wheeler, American Pro Trucker, showcasing the game's truck driving action and emphasizing the challenges of highway driving with 18 wheels, 20 tons of cargo and 60 feet of truck in your wing mirror. This page is all about the Spider-Man game coming to the Dreamcast, due out in June from Activision, developed by Neversoft and Treyarch. It's framed as a preview, with the headline asking if Dreamcast is in trouble, and then declaring Spider-Man is swinging in to save the day. They're making a point about how everyone loves the Spider-Man story, bitten by a spider, gets powers. They mention the classic Spider-Man abilities: strength, agility, wall crawling, and the spider sense. It also bigs up the developers Neversoft, saying they are the same chaps behind the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games, which is a good pedigree for an action game like this. They're clearly positioning it as a must-have, especially for fans of the comics and those Saturday morning cartoons. The Dreamcast version of Spider-Man, launching in June, is showcasing an enhanced combat system with extensive combo options using punch, kick, and web-slinging moves via the analog stick. Players can pull enemies into walls, use web balls, and even equip web gloves for attacks. The game promises seamless web swinging and ceiling climbing. Developers Treyarch are emphasizing visual improvements, including detailed character models and smooth 30 FPS animation, exceeding the PlayStation version's capabilities. They're aiming to refine the original game, drawing on their experience from the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series. The preview highlights the initial bank robbery level and promises a comic book-style narrative, emphasizing developer commitment to fan satisfaction. The game features a detailed Spider-Man suit and a Mysterio fight. The article concludes with a humorous Spider-Man fact: underscoring the game's faithful recreation of the character's universe. This page is a preview of the Spider-Man game for the Dreamcast, set to launch in June. It highlights the game's blend of stealth and action, kicking off in a bank robbery scenario reminiscent of Metal Gear Solid, where Spidey uses his ceiling-crawling skills to outsmart gun-toting goons. It promises a room-sized bomb and a 2-minute detonation countdown for added tension. The next level shifts to the Daily Bugle, with Spider-Man needing to rescue publisher J. Jonah Jameson from the supervillain Scorpion. The article mentions 34 levels of carnage-packed action, emphasizing the game's comic book roots, drawing from 34 years of Spider-Man storylines, though the stories themselves are said to be about 100% original. Stan Lee and Amazing Friends are referenced as influences for the cutscenes. The preview also points out the inclusion of the classic Spider-Man theme tune with a skate rock update. There's a section called Spider-Ham, discussing the game's humor, noting that Spider-Man games and comics are known for witty dialogue, and this game is no exception, showcasing some in-game speech bubbles with Spidey cracking wise in various situations. The screenshots show in-game action including combat, fights against Scorpion and Venom, and a demonstration of the Spider-Sense animation. Captions highlight the two-fisted action, the Scorpion fight, Venom's increased difficulty, and the impressive Spider-Sense visual effect. The text box quote emphasizes that the developer's passion for Spider-Man is evident throughout the game. This page continues the preview of the Spider-Man game and emphasizes the level design, stating that each level is designed as if it's an issue of the comic, complete with its own cover. It mentions that criticisms of the PlayStation version were that it was too easy and could be finished quickly, and it questions if the Dreamcast version will be the same, noting that Treyarch is working on character intelligence, especially for end-level bosses like the Rhino. The preview also touches on universal appeal, highlighting that the game is set in a colorful Marvel universe, and it's not just focused on Spider-Man but includes other characters. The screenshots here show Daredevil confronting Spider-Man atop a building, suggesting he thinks Spidey is a criminal. Another shows Spider-Man at the Baxter Building, the Fantastic Four's HQ, but they are apparently not home. The last screenshot is a bit of humor, showing Captain America on a Jerry Springer Tonight billboard. It seems the game has some fun pop culture references thrown in. The next page continues the Spider-Man preview, elaborating on the game's design as being structured like a comic book, with each level being akin to a single issue, even with its own cover. They're addressing some of the criticisms leveled at the PlayStation version, mainly that it was a bit of a walk in the park and could be polished off rather quickly. It's posed whether the Dreamcast version will suffer the same fate. Apparently, Treyarch are tinkering with character intelligence, particularly for the boss encounters, like the Rhino. The article also mentions the game's universal appeal, pointing out it's set within the vibrant Marvel universe, and it's not just about Spider-Man himself, there's a whole cast of characters involved. The screenshots show Daredevil getting in Spidey's face on a rooftop. Looks like he's mistaking him for a wrong'un. Another shot shows Spider-Man at the Baxter Building, home of the Fantastic Four, but it seems they're out. And for a bit of a giggle, there's a Captain America billboard for Jerry Springer Tonight. Seems they've peppered the game with a few pop culture jokes. This page is an advert for Gameplay, pushing their Dreamcast gear and games. They're flogging the Dreamcast console itself in a couple of bundles, one with Tomb Raider 4, Sonic Adventure, and Wafer Striker for £119.99, and another cheaper option at £97.99 with Choo Choo Rocket. There's a big section on Dreamcast games, bragging about even lower prices. Some of the titles they're highlighting with save amounts include Resident Evil 2, Silent Scope, Street Fighter Alpha 3, Jet Set Radio, Tomb Raider 4, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Quake 2 iArena, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Vanishing Point, and Worms World Party. Warwick K. They've also got a section called Dreamcast Essentials, showing off the VMU, the joypad, keyboard and mouse, all priced at £19.99 each. Then there are Dreamcast new releases and Dreamcast pre-orders sections, listing a bunch of games with prices, including titles like Grandia 2, Ducati World, Evolution 2, Fighting Vipers 2, Alone in the Dark for the New Nightmare, Confidential Mission and Crazy Taxi 2. Finally, they've got a Dreamcast peripherals section, listing a load of cables, memory cards, controllers, and other bits and bobs like the Mad Catz MC2 Dreamcast wheel. Looks like they're offering free second-class delivery and cheap first-class delivery too. They're pushing online accounts on their website, gameplay.com, and offering a $5 off your next online order if you spend over £20. The upfront section previews Dreamcast news. Free online access at last? Explores the possibility of free online gaming, highlighting Dreamkey 2.5, and online titles like Propellerhead, Headhunter, Virtua Tennis 2, and Unreal Tournament, with screenshots included. Back to Life reports on Half-Life's delayed but upcoming release in late May/June, showcasing a screenshot. Up and Away details the surge in hardware sales due to price drops, with the Dreamcast now available for £99.99 in the UK, and even better sales in Japan, boosted by games like Skies of Arcadia. Lastly, Crazy Nights reveals Crazy Taxi 2 will be set in New York City, a departure from the first game's setting, and includes comparisons to other SEGA driving titles. This page is all about upcoming releases, kicking off with a look at Crazy Taxi 2, which is moving from San Francisco to New York City. They're talking about new characters like Slash, Iceman, Cinnamon, and Hot, each with their own driving styles and quirks. Apparently Slash is a bit of a loose cannon, Cinnamon is all about keeping customers happy, Hot is money-focused, and Iceman is cool as ice. There are new moves as well, like the crazy hop to jump over traffic, and the ability to pick up multiple fares at once. Looks like it's going to be a bit more frantic than the original, like goo. Then there's a piece on the Tomb Raider movie, starring Angelina Jolie. It mentions the movie is based on the game, and will have lots of merchandise tie-ins, including action figures. Looks like it was filmed in various locations, and is coming to UK cinemas in June. They even make a cheeky comment about selling Lara Croft merchandise alongside the movie, referencing a hot babe. Shenmue 2 is getting a new update, introducing characters Ren, a gang leader, and Ku Shui, who will assist Ryo. The game will feature mini-games like arm wrestling and dice games, with save data from the original Shenmue transferable. The sequel is slated for an early 2002 release. Choo Choo Rocket is coming to Game Boy Advance, nearly identical to the Dreamcast version, with multiplayer support and customizable graphics. This handheld version boasts 2,500 levels, and is expected in the summer. A reader-voted Dreamcast chart reveals Shenmue 2 as the most anticipated game, followed by Sonic Adventure 2, expected in June. Other highly ranked games include Black and White, Half-Life, and Skies of Arcadia. This issue previews 3 Dreamcast games. Arcade Test reviews Konami's Police 24/7, an arcade light gun game using full-body motion sensors for aiming and shooting, potentially revitalizing arcades. A home release is possible, if successful. Bloody Great previews Ultimate Fighting Championship, tap out on Dreamcast, a sequel by Crave with more fighters, modes and tournaments, published in the UK by Ubisoft. The game promises improved gameplay and visuals. Whatever Happened to Peacemakers covers Conflict Zone, now titled Conflict Zone. Hurrah! For Dreamcast. It's a modern warfare strategy game, focusing on peacekeeping, with the option to play as the antagonists, aiming to be the first true real-time strategy game on the console. This Dreamcast news update from early 2001 highlights upcoming game releases, including Skies of Arcadia, Sonic Adventure 2, and Unreal Tournament. The playlist recommends classic titles like Soul Calibur and Phantasy Star Online. The UK sales charts show Phantasy Star Online at number 1, with Sonic Adventure 2 in second place. Virtua Insanity previews Virtua Fighter 4, with enhanced graphics and a return to basics by removing the evade button. The article also discusses Phantasy Star Online's success, boasting a large online community, and plans for an expansion and sequel. Other news includes Sega's partnership with Namco and Sony for online distribution, the re-release of the Game Gear, a call for game testers, and mentions of Shenmue and Jet Set Radio at an animation festival. This page showcases the Inspector Gadget section, highlighting a collection of quirky and newfangled items for the tech-savvy individual. First up, there's a range of mouse mats, aimed at PC gamers really, but some Dreamcast folks might be into PC gaming too. There's a Buffy-themed one, clearly playing on the TV show's popularity back then, a custom mouse mat where you can stick your own photos, a bit of fun, and a Raquel Welch mouse mat, playing on the classic pin-up vibe, for those with a bit of retro taste. Moving on from mouse mat, they feature the Benefon Q mobile phone, boasting about its small size and stylish looks. It was all about sleek phones back then. Then there's the Bush DVD 140 TV, a combined DVD player, and TV good if you're short on space, they say, a handy all-in-one for your entertainment needs. Next is the Onkyo FR435, which is an all-in-one audio system, combining amp, CD and mini disc, aiming for minimal fuss and wires, a proper bit of kit for music lovers. AK. For something a bit different, there's the Mini M16, a toy gun, described as harmless fun, for Scarface reenactments in your living room, a bit tongue-in-cheek. Finally, there are Dirty Talk fridge magnets, for creating vaguely suggestive poetry. Bit of a laugh for some, I suppose. All in all, a mixed bag of gadgets for the modern home entertainment enthusiast. Confidential Mission, an arcade shooter, is coming to the Dreamcast. Photos show the game set up with a spy-themed backdrop. Screenshots showcase typical light gun gameplay. A Vox Pop section reveals diverse opinions. Players generally enjoyed the game, praising its speed, graphics, and fun factor. Some found it easy to aim, entertaining, and a good stress reliever. Comparisons were drawn to other arcade games, with some considering it better than others. The article highlights the upcoming release, emphasizing the excitement surrounding the game's arrival on the Dreamcast. This page features an article titled The Marshall Plan, about house music pioneer Marshall Jefferson and his love for video games, particularly on the Dreamcast. It highlights that despite his music career, Jefferson is a big gamer, even claiming to have owned and lost to theft every console going. He's into online PC role-playing and strategy games like Command & Conquer, Red Alert and EverQuest. He was recently introduced to the Dreamcast by DJ Pierre and enjoys playing Ready 2 Rumbles, though isn't keen on Sonic and prefers darker, gorier games. However, Phantasy Star Online has rekindled his interest, and he's keen to play it online. The article mentions his current recording partner suggesting he can get a Dreamcast within days. Jefferson expresses his desire to make music for games like Phantasy Star Online, stating he would put his soul into it and create mind-altering shit for them. The next page features an article titled Maximum Kudos, focusing on Matthew Casey, who's touted as one of Europe's fastest Metropolis street racer players. Dan Trent, the writer, attempts to keep up with him, highlighting just how dedicated Casey is to the game. Apparently, 17-year-old Matthew won the online San Francisco Challenge stage of MSR against drivers from all over Europe. He's quoted saying he'll spend around 5 hours in an average session, but can go up to 8 if he's on a roll. He talks about car choice being important, and mentions using the Vauxhall VX220, even using a Dreamcast steering wheel for the photo shoot. The article notes the upcoming release of MSR in the US and Japan. Over on the right side, there's an advert for Evil Dead: Hail to the King. The tagline is, "You make the final cut," with a chainsaw image, and it's proclaiming, after 8 years of silence, the Evil Dead return, but this time, the chainsaw is in your hands. With a release date of May 2001. It's coming out on PlayStation, Dreamcast, and PC, and the website is listed as www.playdead.tv. The 2001 ODM Reader Awards highlight the top Dreamcast games. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 took the number 10 spot, praised for its addictive gameplay, graphics, and cool style, scoring a 9/10. Jet Set Radio ranked number 9, also with a 9/10, lauded for its cel-shaded visuals, funky soundtrack, and addictive gameplay. Sonic Adventure, with a perfect 10 out of 10, secured number 8, praised for its speed, graphics, and enjoyable gameplay. The Say What section features diverse reader opinions on games like Virtua Tennis, Shenmue, Samba de Amigo, Choo Choo Rocket, Jet Set Radio, Soul Calibur, and Resident Evil. Code Veronica. Readers shared personal anecdotes, from making beans on toast while playing to finding Shenmue peculiar and humorously describing Samba de Amigo. The section provides a snapshot of the varied Dreamcast gaming experiences. The Dreamcast Magazine's Reader Awards 2001 continues with the Say What section. At number 7 is Resident Evil Code Veronica, praised for its intense atmosphere, action, and scariness. Readers were highly enthusiastic, with some even calling it the best game ever. Number 6 is Quake 2 iArena, lauded for its online features and intense multiplayer action, being described as fragging brilliant and pure online violence. Next is Crazy Taxi at number 5, celebrated for its addictive gameplay. Players praised its fun, with one saying it made them buy a Dreamcast just for it. 2. Finally, Virtua Tennis takes the 4th spot. Praised for its realism and being the best sports game ever, readers also highlighted its simple controls. The 2001 Dreamcast Magazine Reader Awards highlights the console's best games. Soul Calibur ranked 3rd, praised for its fighting, graphics, and balance. Shenmue took 2nd, lauded for its immersive world. Metropolis Street Racer claimed 1st, celebrated for its realism and innovation. Shenmue was the overall favorite, despite a slightly lower review score. Bizarre Creations, developers of Metropolis Street Racer, were acknowledged as the only European studio in the top 10. The Best of the Rest section listed games, ranked from 11th to 50th, showcasing the Dreamcast's diverse library. These included titles like Dead or Alive 2, House of the Dead 2, Choo Choo Rocket, and a wide range of other genres, demonstrating the console's broad appeal. This page is an advert for 3 trial issues of the official Dreamcast magazine. It's pushing a 100% risk-free offer, where you get 3 issues delivered for free, before they even hit the shops. They're throwing in an exclusive Sega gaming disc packed with playable demos each month. If you decide to subscribe after the trial, you'll get a decent 33% saving, and each issue works out to just £3.33, a fair bit cheaper than the £4.99 in the shops. It's asking readers to reply now and not miss out, with a form to fill in to subscribe, offering check, card, or direct debit payment options. On the right side of the page, there's also an advert for Hot Dog Magazine, bragging about a free CD with movie soundtracks, and featuring Gary Oldman on the cover with an exclusive interview. It also mentions movie power players, Brad Pitt, Kevin Smith and Boys and the Hood, and a competition to win £1,000 for making a movie. Confidential Mission, a new light gun shooter from hitmaker, House of the Dead 2 Crazy Taxi, promises a James Bond-inspired experience for the Dreamcast, launching in May. Players take on the role of Agent Gibson in a fast-paced, skill-based shooter, with multiple routes and online rankings. The game, reminiscent of Operation Wolf but in 3D, emphasizes accuracy, rewarding justice shots and combos. Players lose points for hitting hostages. The game features an assault rifle and lock-on timers to shoot enemies before they shoot. Levels include a museum, the first level, a bridge, a train, and a submarine base. Mini-games and levels involving hijacked trains and paraskiing add variety. Inspired by spy films like James Bond, Mission, Impossible, and Austin Powers, the game aims for high replay value and boasts hidden elements like remote-controlled rocket launchers. Dreamcast previews highlight 2 upcoming titles. Confidential Mission, a light gun game by hitmaker, House of the Dead 2 Crazy Taxi, offers a spy-themed experience with score bonuses for skillful shots and interactive environments. Producer Mikumagai emphasizes minigames and unique features over Virtua Cop, with training modes and a 2-player mode. It's inspired by classic arcade shooters and spy films. The next Tetris is a puzzle game returning with updated graphics and new play modes, including a color-coding mechanic. Aiming for addictive gameplay, it features state-of-the-art graphics and a 2-player split-screen mode, despite lacking online features in the UK version. Sega's 18-wheeler American Pro Trucker, coming to Dreamcast in May, offers arcade-style trucking action across America. Developed by AM2, the game features time-based cargo deliveries, rival truckers, and the classic big rig experience, including a massive steering wheel. While online multiplayer is absent in Europe, the home version promises arcade-perfect visuals, an excellent in-cab view, and extra modes. Commandos 2, from Eidos and Pyro Studios, is the sequel to the PC hit, arriving in September. Set in WW2, players control commandos on stealth missions, with new characters including a dog. Improved 3D graphics and an analog stick control system enhance the gameplay, promising a superior experience. The game will feature gameplay with various commandos and even include a tank for use. Pre-orients. Unreal Tournament for Dreamcast is hyped as a superior, hyper-violent alternative to Quake, boasting 8-player online deathmatches and team modes. The game emphasizes fast-paced action, diverse weaponry like the Redeemer, a nuclear-powered rocket, and detailed gothic/sci-fi levels. It promises to include deathmatch, capture the flag, and domination modes from the PC version. The Dreamcast version, developed by Secret Level and published by Infogrames, faced delays due to challenges importing the code and perfecting online play. While the Assault mode was dropped, the developers are confident in the final product. It's expected to launch in June and is aiming to exceed expectations with high-quality visuals and gameplay. Dreamcast Magazine previews 2 upcoming titles, Unreal Tournament and Heroes of Might and Magic 2i. Unreal Tournament emphasizes online multiplayer for up to 8 players, featuring 65 maps, including the originals, and modes like Capture the Flag and Domination. The developers highlight its fast-paced action and extensive online support, with confirmed European servers and numerous American servers, despite hardware limitations affecting some visuals. Heroes of Might and Magic 2 is a role-playing strategy game set in Arathia. Players, led by Queen Catherine Ironfist, build towns, recruit heroes and armies, explore for resources, and engage in turn-based combat. The game offers a deep strategy experience, with a focus on world exploration, town planning, and warfare, published by Ubisoft and developed by 3Do. This page is the reviews section, bang in the middle of the mag. Big focus on Daytona USA 2001 here, which is no surprise, we all remember the arcade version. The reviewer, Ed Lomas, is reminiscing about the arcade days, the sounds, and the whole experience. He's talking about the Dreamcast version, saying it's got new tracks, improved graphics, and remixes of the original music, even mentions online play, but seems a bit underwhelmed, especially as it doesn't quite hit the mark they were hoping for. He gives it a score of 58. There's a little table here with other reviewed games and their scores. NBA Hoops gets a 74, Pro Pinball Trilogy a 64, Rogue Spear scores a decent 76, and Skies of Arcadia gets a 68. Down at the bottom there's the ODM ratings guide, explaining their scoring system. 10 is perfect, down to 1 which is apparently worse than worthless. Seems pretty straightforward. This review, penned by Casper Field, focuses on the Dreamcast version of Daytona USA 2001. The review reminisces about the classic rivalries of gaming and the mid-90s arcade battles between Daytona and Ridge Racer. While acknowledging the Saturn version's limitations, the review highlights the Dreamcast version as a significant upgrade, boasting enhanced graphics that surpass even the original arcade game. All arcade tracks are present, along with new designs. The absence of online play in the European release is a disappointment. Despite this, the review praises the Dreamcast's technological advancements, including improved texture mapping, transparency, and polygon power, and the sound quality. Overall, the game receives a score of 58, reflecting a mixed experience. The Daytona USA 2001 review highlights the game's core arcade racing fun, emphasizing power slides and manual gear shifting for drifting. Several cars are showcased, including the Grasshopper, Hornet, Lightning, and Wolf. Classic tracks like 37 Speedway, Dinosaur Canyon, and Seaside Street Galaxy return, with other varied courses like Circuit Pixie and Rin Rin Rink also available. While the handling is praised and the gameplay remains engaging, the review expresses some reservations about the visuals and the absence of online play in Europe. However, the review acknowledges that the game retains the spirit of Daytona, focusing on over-the-top, tail-out racing. Daytona USA 2001 is a review of the classic arcade racer. The game adds car customization, allowing players to alter colors. The original, fast-paced tracks return, and the review notes the controls are initially twitchy with a joypad, especially for the slidey Lightning car. The Champion Road mode provides a championship experience, unlocking new cars. While the review criticizes the lack of significant new content, the core gameplay, music, and sound effects are praised. Different camera angles are available. The review concludes that the game is a retro classic. Positives include the fast-paced action, vibrant visuals, and classic soundtrack. Drawbacks include the lack of online play and a sparse championship mode. It receives a 7/10, with a launch price of £39.99, published by SEGA and developed by Amusement Vision. Pro Pinball Trilogy for Dreamcast is reviewed, praised for its authentic pinball experience without the need to stand. The game, offering 3 tables, Fantastic Journey, Time Shock, and Big Race USA, is noted for its value and detail. Fantastic Journey features steam power and gorillas, Time Shock incorporates time zones and dinosaurs, and Big Race USA involves a taxi race through American cities. The reviewer highlights the game's attention to detail, including tableware and tear settings and individual flipper power adjustments. Controls, especially with the Dreamcast controller, are lauded, with triggers for flippers and D-pad use. Tilting is also well implemented. The review concludes that Pro Pinball Trilogy is a solid package with great features, including dynamic music and voice acting. This page is a review of Pro Pinball Trilogy, focusing on the designer table aspects and giving a final verdict. The review highlights the intricate design of the pinball tables in the game. It points out features like Mount Rushmore, with precedence on the Time Shock table, a magic crystal that supposedly enables time travel for the balls, an extra flipper smaller than the standard ones, drop targets, and a cunning mechanical locking device to hold multiple balls. They also mention the ball launch system and a ball save light feature. The verdict section is quite positive, stating sure plays mean pinball, no soft perm required. The uppers are listed as the 3 tables, realistic physics, and empathetic attention to detail. The downers are the 3D perspective being a bit irksome, it being too high as for telescreens, and slight slowdown in multiball mode. The game gets a good score of 7 out of 10 from ODM. Other details mentioned are the website for Empire Interactive, the publisher, max players is 1, and the video mode being full screen 50Hz and VGA compatible. The price is listed as £39.99, and the developer is Cunning Developments. Skies of Arcadia, a Dreamcast RPG, is praised for its scale and depth. The reviewer highlights the complexity of its systems, but emphasizes its rewarding gameplay. The storyline involves air pirates rescuing a girl, Fina, from the Valuan Empire, who seek her due to her knowledge of moon crystals. Players control Vice and Ica, with their ship and Vice's father playing key roles. The review admires the high-quality graphics and camera work, showcasing features like save points, combat attacks, airship designs, and creature riding. A notable feature is the Pinter Quest, a VMU minigame unlocked by helping Pinter, which rewards players with items and experience in the main game. This page continues the Skies of Arcadia review, delving into more of the game's features. Look what we found, details the Sailors Guild, where you can sell information about discoveries you make while exploring, a neat way to get rewarded for your curiosity. The walkthrough ship battles section gives some sound advice for ship combat, emphasizing timing attacks and building spirit points for powerful cannons. Stone Me explains the Moonstone combat system, describing it as a rock-paper-scissors style element, so choosing the right moonstone for your attacks is key. It also mentions the Smooths, special attacks powered by moonberries. Then there's a speak out section with Matt Kayak from SEGA, revealing his favorite thing about Skies of Arcadia is the world and story. He mentions he's playing Aerowings 2, likes Iceman as a superhero for being cool and collected, has a positive view of video game journalists, and if he were a pirate he'd be Jake the One-Eyed Snake. The page has screenshots showing ship battles in action, a glimpse of the Sailors Guild interface, moonstones in combat, and a Daba creature being ridden, showing off the variety of gameplay in Skies of Arcadia. The Skies of Arcadia review highlights a compelling RPG experience. Players recruit crew for their airship, customizing it and improving their swashbuckler rating to gain access to more. A unique aspect is Fina's weapon, Stupid Cupel, which requires chams found throughout Arcadia to upgrade, encouraging exploration. The game features a vast world, story, and mini-quests. Combat is turn-based, but can be somewhat random regarding attack range, leading to potential frustration in boss fights. The review boldly compares it to Phantasy Star Online. The verdict is very good, awarding an 8/10. Uppers praise the world, story, and weapon manipulation, while downers cite combat randomness and tricky locations. The review notes the game's initial daunting nature, but emphasizes its complexity. The game is single-player, priced at £39.99, developed by Overworks, published by SEGA, and offers boarded 50Hz video modes. NBA Hoops, a basketball game from Midway, attempts to emulate the arcade style of NBA Jam. The review notes, the game features 3-on-3 gameplay, a shift that the reviewer finds makes the screen too busy. The AI is considered average, contributing to a chaotic feel. Minigames and a hoops button for pass-off moves are included, but the button is unreliable. The review criticizes the game's hapless AI and the addition of extra players. The final verdict is average, with a score of 5/10. The game, priced at £39.99, supports 4 players, features boarded 50Hz/full-screen 60Hz modes, and VGA compatibility. Screenshots depict in-game action, including dunks and custom team options, with captions pointing out various game moments. Anthony Holden reviews Rogue Spear, a tactical shooter aiming to improve upon the buggy predecessor, Rainbow Six. The game promises engaging covert operations gameplay for fans of the genre. Improved controls are a welcome change, with missions becoming more interesting. Terrorists' cowardly behavior adds a humorous element. Mission planning and an authentic counter-terrorism feel are emphasized. While multiplayer is limited to split-screen deathmatch, the single-player campaign offers a challenging experience. Detailed briefings and a realistic weapon selection are highlights, although the abundance of equipment might be overwhelming. Screenshots reveal a London skyline, surrendering terrorists, and night vision gameplay, along with a team status screen featuring various operators. The tagline boasts fixes to crashes and the control system, suggesting a significant improvement. Gwar. This review of Rogue Spear highlights its emphasis on strategic planning, stealth, and teamwork in hostage scenarios. The Operation Perfect mission on a grounded 747 exemplifies this, requiring players to select operatives, equip them with appropriate gear, and meticulously plan routes using the planning map. Producer Norbert Wellmeyer praises the game's strategic rewards, though he admits his enjoyment of Virtua Tennis and MSR. The review walks through a mission setup, from team selection and gear, to route planning and execution. The verdict is, better than Rainbow Six, but still an acquired taste, praising the campaign, atmosphere, and realism, but criticizing its potential lack of fun, offline multiplayer, and keyboard/mouse requirement. The game, published by Swing and developed by Red Storm, received a 6/10, emphasizing the importance of meticulous planning. This page showcases the Reviews Roundup and Thinking section from official Dreamcast Magazine, continuing the at-home theme. It looks like the team, including Alex Hutala and Dan Trent, are in a relaxed setting to discuss recent game releases. The main focus is on Project Justice, a beat-em-up from Capcom, which they acknowledge as masters of the genre. They reckon Capcom have gone 3D for their latest effort, but kept the madness of their 2D games. They think it's chow-tatic, but in a good way, especially if you like their style. The team thinks it's accessible, even if you weren't a hardcore beat-em-up fan. They talk about it being easy to get into and enjoy the over-the-top moves and animations straight away, without needing complex commands. They compare it to Soul Calibur and Fighting Vipers 2, noting the character design is better than Fighting Vipers 2. The Up for Discussion intro mentions the team taking time out to discuss 5 recent releases that month. Besides Project Justice, they're also looking at Ducati World, a motorbike racing game, Giant Killers, a football management game, Phantasy Star Online, and Sonic Shuffle. Screenshots of all these games are shown, giving a quick look at each in action. It all seems to be a casual chat about the games they've been playing. Ducati World is heavily criticized for its poor sound, graphics, gameplay, and camera angles, deemed atrocious by all reviewers. Giant Killers, a football management game, is considered a decent entry-level title, though basic and lacking advanced tactical options. Phantasy Star Online receives praise for its online social aspects and engaging character building, with a Pokémon-like combat system deemed addictive. Sonic Shuffle is dismissed as a disappointing board game-like experience, with slow gameplay and unresponsive controls, despite potential in its minigames. Overall, the reviews present a mixed bag of experiences across the games. This page is part 2 of How Did They Do That, and focuses on setting up Quake 2 and Arena Online on the Dreamcast, penned by Adam Phillips. It delves into how Dreamcast achieved its impressive online gameplay for Quake 2 Arena. The article reflects on the up to 6 billion players launch slogan and how early online experiences were games like Choo Choo Rocket. It emphasizes that Quake 2 Arena was the game that truly showcased the Dreamcast's online capabilities, delivering crisp graphics and fast-paced multiplayer that even surprised PC gamers, proving the console's online prowess and silencing doubters who thought it couldn't be done. The piece then teases the reader to continue reading to find out exactly how they pulled it off. This page continues the How Did They Do That feature, and delves into the making of Quake 2 Arena Online on the Dreamcast. It starts with The Ambition, which was Sega's drive to prove the Dreamcast's online prowess with a killer app, and Quake 2 Arena was chosen as the perfect title. The execution section explains how Sega tackled the challenge of setting up a server network for European players. Stephen Tan, the network engineer at Sega, describes how they calculated server capacity to support 4,000 simultaneous players, ensuring smooth gameplay by strategically placing servers across Europe to minimize latency, which is crucial for fair play in a fast-paced game like Quake. They aimed for a setup where European players could play on local servers for good ping. The end result covers the success of the launch, with 32 active servers handling 6,500 unique logins daily, and a thriving online community. Popular clans like Ronin and Drunken Masters are mentioned, with over 500 clan members at launch, showcasing the game's popularity. Steve Wormwell from Dream Arena emphasizes the community aspect, highlighting how Dream Arena empowered players with clan systems, letting them control their own online groups and communities. The Are You Being Served section shows a map of Europe, indicating the server locations in cities like London, Paris, Dusseldorf, Zurich, Milan, Stockholm, Helsinki, Lisbon and Madrid, highlighting the extensive server network SEGA deployed to ensure a great online experience for Quake 2 Arena players. In an In the Hot Seat interview, Greg John of Treyarch discusses their Dreamcast conversion of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Treyarch, known for successful conversions, improved the game's graphics, increasing polygon count and texture sizes for a more realistic look at 30 FPS. The interview, driven by reader questions, covers aspects like level design, street-based with half-pipes, the game's physics, retained from the original, and the influence of other extreme sports games, none. Screenshots highlight enhanced graphical detail and smooth frame rates. The article also mentions Treyarch was developing a Dreamcast Spider-Man and Max Steel game. The magazine's next issue will preview Crazy Taxi 2, Sonic Adventure 2, and Commandos 2. A reader question regards THQ's skateboarding game. This Grandia 2-player guide, written by Irina Pogarsic, offers strategies to conquer the RPG and defeat Valmar. The guide emphasizes teamwork and maintaining character health. Key characters include Ryudo, a sword-wielding geohound with moves like purple lightning; Elena, a staff-wielding songstress; Melania, who uses a crossbow; Roan, a hammer-wielding boy; Marek, a battle-axe-wielding beastman; and Tio, an automata employing bladed rings. The guide details each character's special moves, illustrated with screenshots. Examples include Ryudo's Tensenko Slash, Elena's White Apocalypse, Roan's Golden Hammer, Marek's Beast King Smash, and Tio's Tornado. This guide is part of a larger hints and tips section containing content on attacks, Phantasy Star Online, a help section, cheats, and challenges. This Grandia 2 guide section focuses on essential gameplay elements. It stresses collecting items, particularly in shops for tutorials and essential recovery items, like recover items and mana eggs, to manage status effects and conserve magic points. Mana eggs are vital for magic, offering various elemental spells, with Melania starting with the Dragon Egg. The guide then covers attack items, such as Thorstone, Moge Bomb, and others. It also provides battle tips, emphasizing the length of the game and numerous battles. It details upgrading special moves using magic coins, and equipping and leveling up skills from skillbooks. Random battles are element-based. The cancel effect mechanic, using the attack bar to interrupt enemy moves, is crucial. The guide concludes by advising frequent saving and focusing on basic attacks and critical hits against bosses, highlighting the importance of all healer. Hey there. This Phantasy Star Online player guide, Part 2, covers MAGs, battle tactics, and boss strategies. The MAGs, Genetic Engineering section explains MAG evolution, detailing how feeding items, character type, and attribute ratios determine their form. It includes evolution paths for Hunter, Ranger, and Force classes, with first, second, and third evolutions leading to diverse MAG types. The guide also highlights special MAGs, rare versions found in very hard mode that can evolve into themed forms like Chaos, Nitopian, and a Fantasy Zone spaceship. Battle Tactics offers weapon advice, saber types for single targets, handguns and mesh guns for general use, sword types for hunters, rifles/shot types for rangers, and canes/wands for forces. Hot Boss Action provides strategies for Dragon, Head when crashed, Dorol Le, Head when risen, Volume Opt, Mines first, and Dark Faults, floating objects, then heads, then body. Mono or defluids are recommended for healing, and guns or techniques are generally the best weapons. The next page carries on with more helpful hints and tips for Phantasy Star Online. It delves further into weapons, stating there are around 60 types and you can upgrade them with various bits and bobs. They highlight a few specific weapons like the partisan, lock gun, and shot, explaining what they are good for. There's a section called The Perfect Setup, which is all about configuring your controls with strong attacks, normal attacks, healing items like Rester and Reverser, and techniques. Then there's a guide on how to get the Del Saber Buster. Reckon that's a popular weapon, you need to do Doc's secret plan quest. Then speak to Dr. Montague on Pioneer 2 to get it. Interestingly, it mentions taking screenshots using a VM unit, plugging it into controller port D, and using the Dreamkey browser to upload them to some website. A bit convoluted but typical Dreamcast era stuff. Trini. Finally, it talks about joining weapons quests you get from NPCs on Pioneer 2 for special weapons, and lists a bunch of quest names like Secret Delivery, Value of Money, Lost Bride, Claiming a Stake, and Grand Squall. Seems like a fair few to keep you busy. It also mentions the Soul Eater weapon, a special scythe you get from the Dr. Osto's research quest by beating a Black Hound character, and lists other quests tied to getting it, like ones involving characters called Sue and Black Hound. This page provides hints and cheats for several Dreamcast games. The Help section offers solutions for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 gaps, the Soul Reaver boss Melchior, Rayman 2's Act 3 Oil Can and Egg Collection, and avoiding bombs in Chicken Run. The Cheats section reveals Fighting Vipers 2 unlocks like a bonus stage, and character unlocks by completing arcade mode under specific conditions. Sonic Shuffle cheats involve buying pictures in Sonic's room to unlock characters, and Lumina can be unlocked by changing the Dreamcast date. Phantasy Star Online offers costume codes for each character class. Finally, Army Men. Sarge's Heroes features cheats for a secret movie, playing as a pink bunny, unlocking characters, and a mini-mode. The bottom also mentions minigame unlocks in Championship Surfer and The Grinch. This month's gaming challenges feature 3 games: Toy Racer, Fastest Time in Cup Mode, Fighting Vipers 2, Fastest Arcade Mode Completion, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Highest Scoring Career Mode. Participants can win prizes and potentially be featured in the magazine. The results section showcases previous winners, including Michael Harvey, Jet Set Radio, and R. Herdsman, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Advertisements promote new game releases, Unreal, Skies of Arcadia, VGA boxes, import games, Guilty Gear X, Virtua On 2, and used game sales. An ad targets Dreamcast gamers for magazine advertising. To enter, players must photograph their scores and submit them by May 11th. This Dreamcast Magazine Games Directory provides a comprehensive overview of reviewed titles. Games are listed alphabetically, with details like publisher, player count, online status, video output, review issue, and a rating out of 10. Highlights include Crazy Taxi, 9, Jet Set Radio, 9, and Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future, 9, showcasing the console's strengths. Crossover Fighters, Capcom vs SNK, and Marvel vs Capcom are rated highly. Other titles like Blue Stinger, 4, and Buggy Heat, 3, received poor ratings. The page also features a Visual Memory Unit, VMU, FAQ. It covers the VMU's function as a memory card, with a screen for in-game information and minigames. It addresses battery replacement, data storage, 128K, 200 blocks, and downloading save files. Popular VMU content, like animations, are detailed and examples are given. This FAQ assists players in fully using the VMU top. Dreamcast gamers share their top 5 games in Reader's Fives. D. Nelson highlights Sonic Adventure, Metropolis Street Racer, Soul Calibur, Virtua Tennis, and Shenmue. Richard Bammer favors 355 Challenge, Shenmue, Marvel vs Capcom 2, Sonic Adventure, and Samba de Amigo. Owen Penridge chooses Ultimate Fighting Championship, Quake 2 iArena, Choo Choo Rocket, Silent Scope, and Metropolis Street Racer. A FAQ section addresses Dreamcast peripherals. Light guns are incompatible with some TVS. SCART leads offer better picture quality. SEGA won't release a printer, but a DreamOn camera might come to Europe. VGA boxes improve visuals. Not all games support VGA. Rumble packs and arcade sticks are widely compatible. Mice and keyboards are useful for browsing and specific games. Steering wheels are optional. This page offers a blend of Dreamcast content, including a crossword puzzle and a game review section. The reviews cover a range of titles, from The Nomad Soul and Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation to Tony Hawk's Skateboarding and Toy Commander, with varying scores and descriptions. The article also discusses Dream Arena, Sega's online service, confirming its continuation and detailing improvements planned for European users. It answers frequently asked questions about the service, covering topics like WAV file playback, browser updates, ISP usage, call charges, and website access. Additionally, the piece highlights online gaming opportunities, showcasing games like Phantasy Star Online, Quake 2 iArena, and Choo Choo Rocket, and promoting the formation of clans for Quake 2 iArena within Dream Arena. This ODM recommends section highlights 20 standout Dreamcast games across various genres. Arcade classics like Crazy Taxi and F355 Challenge are featured, alongside underwater adventure Echo the Dolphin and sports titles like NBA 2K and Virtua Tennis. RPG fans will enjoy Phantasy Star Online, while fighting game enthusiasts can experience Power Stone, Soul Calibur, and Capcom vs SNK. First-person shooter fans are recommended Quake 2 Arena. Platformers such as Rayman 2, The Great Escape and Sonic Adventure offer fun for all ages. Other notable titles include Resident Evil Code, Veronica, Samba de Amigo, Shenmue, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Jet Set Radio, and Ultimate Fighting Championship. Metropolis Street Racer is also highlighted. The accompanying FAQ section explains GDROM technology, regional lockouts, and release delays related to PAL conversion and translations. It mentions the reduced Dreamcast price, £99.99, and notes the console's use of Microsoft's Windows CE. The connection between the Dreamcast and Naomi arcade hardware is clarified, and the UK release of Shenmue 2 is noted. Finally, subscription availability is limited to UK residents. Warrington Naomi Orchestra. This magazine section presents reader reviews of Dreamcast games. UEFA Dream Soccer received a poor review from Michael Benson, while Phantasy Star Online, praised by Paul Street, and Quake 2 Arena, lauded by G. Gardner, earned high scores. Metropolis Street Racer's handling was criticized, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, while appreciated by Paul Bryans, was described as potentially confusing. A future FAQ addresses the Dreamcast's future. Despite Sega ceasing console production, millions of units remain. At least 50 more games were expected by 2002, with Sega addressing concerns about peripherals and warranties. Sega's game development plans across other platforms, including a DC-compatible set-top box, were also discussed. Dream Arena and online gaming were promised to continue, with the magazine aiming to persist as long as new Dreamcast games were released. This page showcases a selection of activity-based websites, rather than games this time. It's all about getting out and about in the real world. Funnily enough, a bit of a contrast to gaming. There are website recommendations for various hobbies and interests. For the adventurous types, there's Oakwood Leisure for paintballing and quad biking, PhD skydiving if you fancy jumping out of a plane, and Rock and Ice for climbing enthusiasts. If you prefer water-based activities, there's Flagship Portsmouth, highlighting naval history, Royal Yacht Britannia for a bit of posh sailing, and UK Diving for underwater exploration. For those who prefer land-based activities, there's Gone to the Dogs for greyhound racing, Tate Modern for art lovers, and Waterworld if you fancy a swimming trip. There's also information on Silverstone Circuit for motor racing fans, and tank driving for something a bit more unusual. For quieter pursuits, the page lists websites like BBC Experience, English Heritage for historical sites, and Nowhere for local knowledge. There's also National Cycle Network for cycling routes, Natives for dry ski slopes, and Vinopolis for wine tasting. Rounding it out, there are sites for general days out like Last Minute and Roller Coaster. It's quite a varied selection really, something for everyone to get them away from the telly and the Dreamcast for a bit, though I'm not sure I'd be swapping Virtua Tennis for real tennis just yet. The Dreamcast magazine's Big Debate section features a discussion about the magazine's review policy. Readers and staff, including reviews editor Ed Lomas and editor Warren Christmas, debate the brevity of reviews, particularly for smaller games. Some, like Richard Young, believe reviews, even for larger games, need more detail, while others, like Danny Edgar, suggest the website could offer more in-depth coverage of less significant titles. The conversation then shifts to the fairness of the rating system, with Joe Brown questioning potential overrating. The discussion culminates on the 10 out of 10 score given to Shenmue, with Stephen Augustin suggesting bias from Ed Lomas. Ed defends the score based on whether a game is essential. Warren acknowledges reader feedback about perceived pro-Dreamcast bias, and the debate ends with a comment on the cover disc content. The magazine's staff addresses reader questions about reviews, previews, cover discs, and the future of the publication. They emphasize the importance of honest reviews to maintain credibility, differentiating between good and average games. Previews focus on core game concepts, avoiding hype. Review timeframes are flexible, allowing thorough playtesting. Cover discs are a mixed bag, with varying demo quality and sometimes poor video resolution. They would prefer screenshots. They explain Sega Europe's role in disc content and issues with Japanese game releases. The team discusses website updates, particularly news response times, They don't expect to cover the PACE set-top box. The magazine plans to continue covering Dreamcast games, as long as new releases are available in the UK. The section is punctuated by quotes from readers and staff photos. This page is showcasing back issues of the magazine that you can still order. It runs through issues D000 all the way up to D018, covering from late 1999 to early 2001. Each entry gives you the issue number, the price at £5.99, the month and year, and then a quick rundown of what was featured inside. You've got guides for games like Power Stone and Virtua Fighter in the early issues, then demos of Sonic Adventure and Millennium Soldier. Reviews are mentioned too, such as House of the Dead 2 and Soul Calibur being reviewed early on. As you go through the issues, you see more titles popping up like Resident Evil Code, Veronica, Shenmue and Phantasy Star Online, alongside loads of others like Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation, Metropolis Street Racer, and Quake 2 iArena. There's a form to fill out if you want to grab any of these back issues, so if you missed one at the time you could still get your hands on it. This issue's letters section opens with reader outrage over Sega discontinuing the Dreamcast. Disappointment stems from Sega's shift to developing for other consoles and the abandonment of Dreamcast support. Some letters urge players to keep their Dreamcasts, highlighting the console's quality games like Soul Calibur and discouraging the allure of the PlayStation 2. Ask Sega addresses various inquiries. Sega confirms microphone availability for Planet Ring, hints at Shenmue's story ending with Shenmue 2, and directs players to their consumer line for Phantasy Star Online, Choo Choo Rocket, and serial number issues. They advise contacting other companies for information on Half-Life's release and the Shenmue theme music. A Little Treasures segment discusses Dreamcast games becoming collector's items. It advises against selling games like Soul Calibur and Shenmue, emphasizing their artistic value and the importance of appreciating gaming collections as art, similar to the British Film Institute's preservation efforts. A lucky Dreamcast gamer, Carl Watson, won a Vauxhall VEX 220 sports car by excelling in the Metropolis Street Racer competition on Dream Arena. He answered weekly quiz questions, gambling on single questions to earn kilometers. The competition spanned 3 months with 70 questions, some referencing obscure topics like sumo tournaments. Carl, a 26-year-old night shift worker, maxed out his phone bill at £250, but considered it a worthwhile investment for the £25,000 car. He was overjoyed, especially given his current living situation. The text also features a large advertisement for Cheats Unlimited, offering over 10,000 cheats and tips for various gaming platforms, including Dreamcast. The ad highlights a wide selection of game walkthroughs for Dreamcast classics like Crazy Taxi, Shenmue, and Sonic Adventure.